Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. On our technique video, we are going to be doing a little bit of embossing. But at first, I want to tell you we're using this WOW stamp. It's the Make-A-Wish stamp set. And what I'm doing here is I'm using the MISTI to lay out how I want the design to go. So right now, I'm just laying down the large dandelion and then the smaller one. And I wanted to use the one where it has, like, you know, the pieces kind of floating in the air. So it's a bigger stamp. So I had to rearrange in the order that I was originally putting them on. And then I realized that I wanted some butterflies on there too. So I spread the first two that I put down. And I'm laying where I wanted the two butterflies to go. Now, the one where it has the particles like floating in the wind, I want to emboss that. So I'm putting that one separate. And these other stamps, I'm going to stamp in the Versamark Onyx Black ink. And we're just going to lay down our paper and put down our magnet. And then we're going to ink up our stamps here. Making sure, you know, to get them as covered as best you can. The best part about the MISTI, we all know, is the fact that you can restamp it multiple times to make your stamped image nice and crisp. Which I think on this one I wind up doing twice. So we press it down. And then we lift it back up. It moved just a little bit. Just going to put it back down. And then ink it up one more time. Now with the embossing part that's going to be coming up next, using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink, it's very important that it dries. And that's probably the one thing I didn't do, is I didn't wait long enough for it to dry. And you'll see some of the embossing powder is going to stick to the ink because it's a pigment ink and it stays wet longer. So when you use stuff like embossing inks and stuff like that, they tend to stick. But I wanted to try and get this done for you guys a little bit, you know, quicker than normal. And I didn't think to use the heat gun first, so I'm just going to keep it moving and we'll brush off away anything that sticks weird. So once I place that stamp back where I had it, I use the MISTI tool to pick it back up, and then we're going to get our Versamark and we're going to ink up our stamp. Don't forget, you got to get that powder. And I tried to use the powder on the entire card in case any of the embossing powder did go on one of the other stamp images, and it helps, but it was still wet. You'll see in a little bit here. So we're going to ink her up. And there we are. We're putting on the Versamark. And it's hard for me to see when I'm recording. It probably doesn't take as much to put the Versamark on the stamp, but I couldn't get a good angle from where I'm sitting, so that's why I did a little bit extra just to make sure I had enough Versamark on there. And then we're going to press down just like you did with your other stamps. And I have some, I want to say it's Ranger. Let me see, I think I have it right here next to me still. Yeah, it's the Ranger Liquid Platinum Embossing Ink. So it has almost like a pinkish tint. It's not like a silver. It's got it's nice. If you ever get a chance to get some, I highly suggest it because it's just a really pretty, something different besides always doing your golds or your silvers. It's really pretty. So I'm just putting down the embossing powder. And you can see there on the top of that black where the embossing powder is sticking. And I wasn't quite sure at first. I was like, well, maybe that would be cool over top of the black to have it have you know, to use the platinum instead, but that's not what I was intending for this card. So I went ahead and just brushed it off, because what I really wanted was for the other pieces to be in the black and to have the one that's kind of blowing in the wind in the embossing ink only, or the embossing powder only. So once I got it brushed off and everything was cleaned up, I just heated up the heating tool. And then once it was heated up, I tried to heat it from the back actually first. I decided, because I wasn't sure how hot it was, and it doesn't take long for this embossing powder to heat up. Once the tool itself is hot, it takes no time at all for it to get done. Alright, and there we have it. I just wait for it to cool a little bit. There was a little bit of paper warping, but I planned on taping it all down, so we should be good. And we're going to be using this on a standard A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just going to show you here real quickly. I'm not going to go in the final decorating on here. I just wanted y'all to see, you know, the idea that I had, and then at the end I'm going to show you the photos of the finished card. Okay, and we add sequins, some ribbon, and I think it turns out really good. It has a nice pop of color. So I'll be right back and show you what that card looks like. So here we are with the finished card. You can see the ribbon, the pop of color, and the sequins that I was telling you about. I thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Have a great one.